In my book, The A to Z of the New Testament, I enlist the help of many other people besides myself to clarify or illustrate things about the New Testament. One such person is someone you might not expect to be in a book about the New Testament, Jean-Claude Van Damme. But he really is in there. Why? Because of this 2013 Volvo commercial, in which he performs a stunt standing on two trucks. What does that have to do with the Bible, you ask? In the Gospel of Matthew's version of the story of Jesus' famous entrance into Jerusalem, not long before his arrest and crucifixion, the author adds something that isn't in the Gospel of Mark. The Gospel of Mark says that Jesus had his disciples go fetch a donkey, and he sat on it. As my book explains, and as you may already be aware, Matthew used Mark as a source. He changed it at this point, adding a second animal and having Jesus ride both of them. Why would Matthew do this? Because both Gospels quote from the book of Zechariah. There it says, "See, your king comes to you. Triumphant and victorious is he, humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." As you can see if you read the whole passage from the book of Zechariah, there are a lot of examples of something that is a common feature in poetry in Hebrew and Aramaic. One line says something, and the next either repeats the ideas in a different way or expands on it. So when the text mentioned a donkey twice, it was no more referring to two animals than when the passage refers to Zion and Jerusalem. This is an example of something, the technical term for which is parallelism. Some people call them thought rhymes. You don't need to remember either term to understand the point. Hebrew and Aramaic poetry uses repetition not because there's more than one of something, but for poetic effect. Now, Matthew treats what Zechariah says as a reference to two animals, and he says that Jesus rode two animals. In the book, I discuss whether, if Matthew had taken a class on biblical interpretation nowadays, this sort of maneuver would have earned him a failing grade. You can read my book and find out what I say about that. I mentioned the stunt by Jean-Claude Van Damme in the book because it illustrates how awkward a scene Matthew depicts. It's also the sort of thing that might help you remember the point that I make in the book. I obviously couldn't include the commercial itself in the book, and so I thought I ought to seize the opportunity when making a video about the book and show it to you. Read my book, The A to Z of the New Testament. It has Daredevil Jesus, Jean-Claude Van Damme, but also much, much more.